Hi Flosstube, welcome to my channel. This is a channel about cross stitch. My name is Cameron, or Cam. I go by Cam the Stitcher here on Flosstube and on Instagram. And I'm coming at you with a little bit of a different type of video. This was heavily and only really inspired, well not only, but heavily inspired by Cross Stitch the Globe. I'm going to link them below. They did a 2025 trends prediction. Like in the world of cross stitch, and I am on TikTok and I like watch a lot of, I've been watching a lot of like trend predictions for like pop culture and like different things like that. But when I saw their video, I was like, that's kind of genius, because obviously like cross stitch, like each year like new things happen, and like I don't know, we have designers that come out with things, we have fabrics, we have colors, like, and while it's not necessarily like designer fashion that we're predicting, I think that predictions can be made and will be fun to make. So essentially I put together, I thought quite a bit about it, put together a 2025 predictions bingo board, and I want to share them with you. And also you can like comment down below what are some of your 2025 predictions, or even things that you just hope will happen. Some of these are definitely me trying to manifest some things, but then some of them are like genuine predictions of what I think might occur this year in the world of cross stitch. But yeah, comment down below what you think, what 2025 trends you see coming possibly, and I'm excited. And then next year, or at the end of this year, I get to react to myself predicting things, and I will have to like not prove it, but essentially like, did this happen or did it not, right? Like, what did we see? So I'm just going to start with my predictions. So my first prediction is definitely heavily inspired by a recent obsession of mine. I think that we're going to be seeing more grayscale colorways with maybe hints of blues or purples, like lilac, like soft lilac and soft blue colors that almost go over to the gray side of color, of the color spectrum. I think we're going to be seeing lots of grayscale patterns, or I should say color palettes coming out this year, or being stitched, right? So like that could be designers coming out with them, or it could be stitchers choosing to do color conversions that way, something like that. The reason that I think this is because I've now seen Nosferatu in theaters twice. I'm obsessed with it. I really, really enjoyed it. And I do think that the color palette in that movie was so dull and delicious at the same time, if that makes sense. So that is my first prediction. We're going to have a couple other Nosferatu inspired predictions, but that's the first one. Okay, the second prediction, I think cherry red, like deep cherry red, is going to have a big moment this year in cross stitch. I think thread colors, patterns featuring lots of heavy like cherry red in it, maybe fabrics, and then people just like using more red in their color conversions. I think red's gonna have a moment this year. I think maybe red samplers. I do think like monochromatic. I know that Cross Stitch the Globe, I think Allison had mentioned like that she thinks that there's gonna be definitely more monochromatic stitching happening, specifically with black samplers. I do agree with that. I think that's a really good prediction, but I'm thinking red. I'm thinking not just red samplers, which I do think there could be an influx of, but I just think like heavy red color being featured in palettes and things and patterns. All right, my third prediction is there's gotta be a Valentine's release, a February release of a Nosferatu like Valentine's love themed pattern. It's gonna be either the Witchy Stitcher, Night Spirit Studio, maybe Stitch Sprout, somebody, a designer is going to come out with a Nosferatu Valentine's Day themed pattern. That is more of a manifestation, I think, but I think it'll happen. I think we have a really good chance. My fourth prediction is Lola Crow cross stitch Sal. What is the theme going to be? I'm giving myself two options because there is a limit, like a limitless amount of things it could be. I don't know, but I don't know why. And again, this might be manifesting, but I think that it could be like a historic heavy theme. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking circus. I'm thinking freak show. I'm thinking carnival. It could happen because there's lots of like cool historic stuff, but also animals that could be featured in like that type of theme. My other prediction, or like the other theme I'm thinking of, would be maybe a museum. I say museum, my partner says museum. I would say sound off, but I'm not going to be able to hear you say it in the comments. But anyways, I think it's going to be, could be a museum, but I think it would have to be a very specific museum because museum is too broad, right? So I think it's going to be either like a prehistoric situation where we might have some dinosaur bones, some like ancient, like, not ancient, some like, I almost said expired. It's not, what is it when they're gone forever? You know what I'm talking about. Extinct. I think it could be like some prehistoric extinct animals, plants even. There could be like some, I don't know. There could be a water feature in that too. I don't know. I think that's a really good guess. So also I would stitch both of those. So, you know. All right, my fifth prediction is I think there is going to be more princess stitching / like Disney patterns that are coming out this year. The reason for that is a couple. I do think I've seen a lot more princess dresses and things. I know with Brooke's books having passed away and everything, I think that more people are going to be stitching on princess themed stitching. I do also know Snow White is coming out this year. And things like that. So I think like, I just think there's going to be more emphasis on Disney a little bit and some pattern like things. Obviously it's going to be more like Disney inspired, not Disney trademarked stuff, but I don't know. That's my prediction. All right, my sixth prediction is more horror patterns. I think that this year is going to be a really big year for horror movies. I just think with the way the movie industry has been going / the turmoil of the world, I just think it's a really great time for horror movies. And I do think we're going to get some more horror inspired patterns. I do know that 28 Years Later is coming out this year. There's going to be another Conjuring movie. There's like a bunch of there's a bunch of horror movies coming out this year that I have some hope for. So I think that's a good prediction. I think we'll have more horror inspired stitch-alongs, patterns, etc. All right, the other prediction, or this is my seventh prediction, I think there's gonna be more Victorian vibes. Now that's obviously a little vague, but I'm talking color palettes, I'm talking reproduction sampler vibes. I think just more like Victorian dark vibes are going to be happening this year with color palettes, pattern releases, people like even things that have already been released. Like I think more people might be working on things like that. I know I might be biased because I did do like my Victorian goth but make it girly color palette on Vanity Sampler last year. But I do think that there's going to be more of like that vibe going this year. Which also is coming a little bit off of like Nosferatu, but for me, but I don't know. It's possible. Next one is celestial vibes. This is also definitely a manifesting. I want more celestial patterns. I want more suns and moons and stars and whimsy and spirals and purples and blues, and I just want more of it. So I'm hoping that there will be more this year. My next prediction is Biscornus. I just need there to be more Biscornus. I'm hoping that there will be more releases, pattern releases that are Biscornus, because I feel like there's not that much out there. Like if you go on 123 Stitch and you search by theme, if you go to the Biscornu section, there's only like, I don't know, 70 something, 80 something maybe. That's not enough. I need more Biscornus stat. My next prediction is small little pocket-sized samplers. Maybe not pocket-sized, but I think that more like tiny little samplers that can fit into tiny little frames are going to be stitched this year. I'm just feeling it. Do I have any? No. Do I have any even in stash? No, I don't. But I think that it could happen. I'm thinking, I know that they exist, right? Like I know that some people stitch like really tiny reproduction samplers. I think that there will be more of that this year. So, okay. My next prediction, this was definitely inspired by Cross Stitch the Globe, but I do think it's valid. I do think there's going to be more stitchers using Aida this year, but specifically 20 count. 20 count Aida is just, I tried it in 2023 for the first time, and I've been addicted ever since. I use 20 count Aida all the time now. I have a stash of it. I really, really enjoy stitching on it, but I still really enjoy stitching on linen. So like, to me, I do think that it's valid to think that more people will be diving into 20 count Aida. I think maybe more stitchers on Flosstube are using it, therefore more people will hear about it. Therefore, hopefully more dyers will dye 20 count Aida. Because hand dyed 20 count Aida is fun. But also, of course, you could get yourself a sheet of 20 count Aida, like a yard of it, for a decent price and dye it yourself and experiment. So I think that's a valid prediction. Okay, next prediction is about stitch-alongs. I think there's going to be more what I'm calling assignment stitch-alongs. So this is obviously heavily inspired by Annie over at XO, Needle in the Haystack XO on Instagram and Flosstube. She is doing a assignment style stitch along with Kathy Barrick's Quaker Christmas stocking, and I'm participating. What I love about it is that she's giving us these bite-sized assignments that's very casual. Like, this is not a mystery stitch along. We all have the pattern. We know what it's going to look like. But she's just helping us along by saying like, hey, posting the picture of like, here's the next part that you need to stitch. And then and I think she's doing it in like weekly assignments kind of. I don't know the exact pace of it, but she's so far released 2 assignments and I've kept up with both of them. It feels like I'm getting homework that I'm really excited to complete. I don't know, it works for me. I think more people should be doing these styles of stitch-alongs. I think I'd love to do one in the future. I just think they're really fun and accessible. There's no mystery to it, but you're also getting like a little bite-sized assignment to do, kind of like a mystery stitch-along when like the designer sends you the next part. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I think there's gonna be more of that, hopefully. Okay. My next prediction is more knitting inspired patterns. I think there is even more cross section this year of knitting and cross stitch amongst floss tubers that I've noticed. Obviously I'm biased because I this past year got into knitting and I'm really, really enjoying it. And so I'm hoping that there will be more knitting inspired patterns. I know that there's already like a sock knitting pattern by, I think it's October House Fiber Arts. I don't have this pattern, but it's definitely on my wish list because I love knitting socks. But I just think that that would be a smart thing to do for designers, but also would be fun for everyone, including me, mostly. So yeah. I think there's going to be more perforated paper usage outside of just Mill Hill kits and things like that. I think people are going to take patterns that were not necessarily intended for perforated paper and do it on perforated paper. Maybe we'll see some samplers on perforated paper. I don't know. I'm feeling perforated paper this year. So, all right. My next prediction is, I don't know if I'm crazy for this, and I think I might be. I have been known to say that I don't love the color yellow. I think playing with color is really fun. I think this year we're going to see an influx of yellow fabric. Now, more specifically, I do think the yellow fabric is going to be like a buttercup, like soft yellow. But like, I know that those fabrics exist, right? And people have released patterns, reproduction samplers, whatever, what have you, on yellow fabric. But I don't think it's that popular of a fabric color, and I think we're going to have a moment this year. I think yellow fabric's going to have a moment. I think also, I think it's mostly going to be that soft yellow, but I think like mustard yellow is going to come into play for sure. I know personally my favorite like fabric and floss and color in general, it seems like this, like recently, has been that really like yucky yellow green, but I do think there's going to be more yellow in fabrics this year. My next prediction is fruit. I think there's going to be more fruit patterns. I think more fruit motifs incorporated, maybe like a piece of fruit being at the forefront of a pattern type vibe. I know that they exist already, but I think there's going to be more of that. I can see it. I think outside of just, I know like some really good examples, obviously. I know there's like the Hands Across the Sea, the big pear. There's lots of pears in cross stitch. Obviously, Partridge in a Pear Tree. And then I know Blueberry Ridge Designs does a lot with fruit, and the Artsy Housewife. They incorporate lots of fruit into their patterns. I think we're going to see more of that from lots of other designers too this year. I'm advocating for more fruit, okay? To go along with kind of some of the things I've already said, my next prediction is I think spring and spring color palette specifically is going to have a really big moment this year. I think that spring patterns, spring color palettes, spring colored fabric is going to be more popular this year than like summer, fall, or winter palettes. I'm predicting it. I think this year's spring. I don't know. I think it's going to be a lot of like, again, buttercup yellows, leafy, not too bright, not in your face like summer bright. I'm talking spring, soft, bright palette. Greens, lilacs, lavenders, baby pinks, creams, eggshell, like that is the vibe. I think we're going to have lots of spring palettes this year. And I think the spring pattern releases in general are going to be like hype. I don't know. I think it's going to be good. Okay, my next prediction is I think more people are going to be stitching on, and maybe more designers will release samplers with really dainty borders. Not big chunky borders with like big motifs in them. I think we're going to have much more dainty borders or /and samplers with no borders. So just like the motifs, no border around it. I think that that is going to be a trend this year. Is that maybe a little bit of me not wanting to stitch a big chunky border? Yeah, but I think that I think it could be a trend. So my next prediction is more bugs. I think that designers, and maybe like designers that haven't ever designed anything with a bug in it, I think we're going to get more bugs. Obviously, there's our tried and true Sprouting Lupine does amazing bug patterns. I know there's lots of like beetle patterns out there by several designers that I like. Moths and butterflies, of course, but I think there's going to be more bugs outside of moths and butterflies in major designs this year. I'm feeling bugs. I think bugs are going to happen. Okay. Next prediction is high contrast. I think instead of tone on tone, more like muted vibes, I think we're going to see lots of stitchers stitching high contrast projects. So instead of doing tone on tone, they might pick a blue fabric and stitch with like orange floss, because blue and orange are like high contrast colors. Or obviously like black and white, or black fabric and like neon floss, or I don't know, like red and baby pink, or like, oh, red or like lavender would be good. That's like high contrast, like a deep red and a lavender. I don't know. I feel like there's going to be more high contrast stitching going on than there will be tone on tone. That is my prediction. My next one, I think that we're going to go back to floral Grandmacore hardcore. I think that not only like, I just think florals are in our future. Florals for spring, groundbreaking. But realistically, I think that people are going to be stitching on some like Grandmacore. You know, you go to your grandma's house in the 90s. She's got a floral couch, a floral quilt, lace curtains, floral wallpaper. I think we're going to be seeing some more floral granny core stitching happening, whether that's like kits or reproductions of like, there's lots of like bird patterns like that too, but I'm talking like more of like where the motif is mostly like a floral bouquet of some sort, a flower, and that's the concentration of the pattern. And I think more people are going to be stitching on those. I think so. Okay, 3 more to go. My next one is, I do think, and this is again inspired by Cross Stitch the Globe, DMC being used more than overdyed threads. Now, obviously, everyone's different. Everyone's gonna like do your thing. We all have preferences. But I do think that a lot more stitchers have been inspired to gather a master DMC set. And so I think that that's either happened this past year or they're working towards that this year. And so I think more people are going to be utilizing their DMC versus buying overdyed threads. I know I love both. I love using overdyed threads. I love using my DMC. I'm biased. I have a DMC master set. It makes it very easy to pick up and go. I now am digitally also organized with my master DMC set. So I don't know. I think, yes, like the economy, I think just the way things are trending in the Flosstube world, at least in my world, I think DMC will be utilized a lot more. My next prediction is, I do think pink and green it's going to have a moment. And a little bit of that is coming off of the spring palette prediction that I have. But I do think that more stitchers are going to be like, they're going to be doing color conversions that heavily feature pink and green at the forefront, or doing like pink and green, not monochromatic, but like, you know, pink and green Quaker kind of vibe. I do also think that that is inspired by Wicked. Wicked came out the end of last year. The second movie is coming out this year. And again, I just think this is going to be a big year for spring colors. So I think pink and green is going to have its moment. So we'll see. All right. My last prediction is, I think there will be more asymmetrical samplers that come out this year or that are being stitched on. Lots of samplers. If you are a sampler girly, a sampler person, you're gonna see they have like each motif is mirrored on each side, and sometimes it'll be the exact same motif but maybe like a color is changed on one side, which I do like. But I think we're gonna see more asymmetrical samplers being released or stitched on, where it's a little bit more funky and a little bit less mirror image vibes. It's kind of hard to put into words or like imagine what that looks like, but they exist, and I just think that it's gonna be a trend this year. So yeah, those are all of my trends. We're gonna see where this lands at the end of the year. But it was really fun to put together, and this was really fun, like a really quick video to film. Please comment down below if you have any predictions for 2025, whether it's a prediction or what you hope might happen. I would love to hear it in the comments. Thank you, Cross Stitch the Globe, for putting out that video. I think it was genius and fun and fresh. Inspired me so much that I actually filmed it. I don't do a lot of Flosstube extras, but I thought that this was a really fun one to do. So that is where I'll leave you. I will see you at the end of the year to see if my predictions were correct. But until next time, I'll film a regular Flosstube video, and that's where I'll see you next here. Have a good day, have a good week, have a good month, have a good year, and yeah, I will see you later. Bye, baby.